Let's talk about our crossover breakers expectations for this set. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Now, I gotta tell you, crossover breakers is the last set of this year. Alright? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Once this set drops, it is gonna be a boring, quiet time until we're probably expecting a ban list, probably in late December, if I had to guess, probably before Konami goes out of the office. It's kind of been the trend it's been for the last couple of years, you know? We'll hit crossover, and then we'll see Bonfire probably get cleaned up. I already talked about that in the last video, you know, what we're expecting in terms of that. So crossover breakers. Oh, baby, this set changes the meta. And we talked about this is the next turning point in the barometer of things. And you're just going to be like, oh boy, you thought Snake Eyes Tenpai and Yubel, you thought that these three decks were just annoying to deal with. Well, you're about to deal with two more creatures entering into the meta. I've already read a lot of people going, well, personally, I don't think that, you know, Risel is going to be a tier 1 deck. I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, buddy, all right, I got some bad news for you, all right? If you're actually going to sit here with your arms crossed, and you're going to sit here and go, I don't think Risel's actually going to be one of the better decks in the room, and you're thinking this deck's going to be tier 2, you're going to get laughed out of the competition every single time. Alright, yes, Ultimate Slayer is a card. The thing I don't know, or at least how much is going to be impacted by this, is how the meta is going to handle, you know, how many Ultimate Slayers they're going to have to play. But in terms of expectations for this set, Risel will be entering into the meta as a very strong competitor. And it's very, very, very laughable to think that it's not going to be one of the better decks in the room. If you're like, oh, it's going to be tier 2 garbage. Yeah, okay, man. You don't know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That's all there is to it. For as much playtesting and stuff as I have done with this deck, alright, Snake Eyes is a little bit of an issue, but, I mean, that was to be expected. Before the OCG did anything to Snake Eye was actually kind of, what was it? One of the last major events on that list was they had Snake Eyes and Risel pretty much, I think it was like 15 to like 16 in terms of their top cut decks, which is kind of crazy. So crossover breakers itself, the most expensive theme in this set, no matter how you want to swing it, is going to be Risel. All right. And I think a lot of people are kind of looking or expecting set configuration to kind of be not the greatest. All right, you know that Malice and the Risel theme are going to get the two biggest slots in here, which is going to leave Ryu-Ge to probably be the slightly more desired one in terms of budget. I'm expecting out here, if we had to guess, you're probably going to get 4 and 4 in the Ultra slots, 4 Risel, 4 Malice, and then you're going to give 2 to Ryu-Ge. No matter how you're... Ryu-Ge is going to get the cheaper end of the stick. All right, if you're somebody out here that's just like, oh, I can play voiceless voice Ryu-Ge cheap, Robbie, I like that. That's good, and that's fine. Ryu-Ge should not be in the same tier as of, you know, those three decks in terms of price point. I'm going to be honest with you. There needs to be one of these three themes that needs to be cheap, and they need to have it be Ryu-Ge. Now, once again, I mean, on the topic of Ryu-Ge, I mean, you have the voiceless voice version, which is kind of cool. There was the Dynamorphia version that the OCG was kind of sporting off, which was actually, I'm going to give it to you, OCG. That build looked a little bit fun, actually. Being able to do some of the little interactions that you could do with the Dynamorphia build was so cool, actually. That was definitely not an innovation that I thought would be doing its thing. So I fully expect out here Ryu-Ge will be the cheapest. Now, what about Malice? All right, so you're already expecting Risel to be the king of value in this. So where does that leave Malice? Well, we don't have Appaloosa in the TCG. And we also all fully agree here. Everybody look around here. Take a moment to look around. This is only the first wave of support. Alright, typically with these deck build packs, Konami likes to give 2 to 3 waves of support in addition to them. So if you're looking at Malice, you're like, well, Robbie, I don't necessarily think Malice is going to be too expensive. Waifu tax, potential upgrades to waifu tax, incredibly ignorant at building boards, And the deck can play Shifter. Now, on the topic of Shifter in this, if Malice were to take off and become a popular build, and more people are playing Shifter, and that means that Malice has an uptick, because if you Shifter a Malice player, well, congratulations, they can still do things. Now, the OCG meta has evolved to the point of they've cut Shifter from the builds because you can do more combo without having Shifter be active. And I actually think that's kind of important to be thinking about. You will have an uptick in Shifter technology. You will have more people attempting to play Shifter once this deck releases, but I think more and more people are going to kind of take note of this, and to the people that are playing the pure builds, they're going to go, hey, you know, we'll see a little bit of a dial back on Shifter after time, after more and more people are playing the Malice mirror match, and they're like, ooh, you know, thanks for Shiftering me. I'll go ahead and do full combo now against you. And it's going to be a train wreck. In terms of the higher rarity cards, you got to remember, this is one of those sets that brings us collector's rares in the core sets. Oh no! Yeah, I love when they put these collector's rares up on a pedestal, and they're like, oh, you guys want these, don't you? No, not really. I will say they look better than the ones in Rarity Collection, that's for sure, but no, I would rather have them look different and better. But you will have, I guarantee you, probably some decent value. So it's going to be kind of like what Centurion had. Even though Centurion took longer for theirs to go up, because it took, what, like 3 ban lists for Centurion just to kind of be recognized, I would say Malice is going to have some pretty expensive cards. Only because of the waifu tax, and a lot of people want to play them. Good news is in terms of most of the extra deck stuff, more people are going to be justifying the price point because a lot of them are one-ups. And I think that's actually a pretty good trade-off. When you're looking at extra deck cards that you don't have to have 2 to 3 of, obviously one of them can be seen as a potential 2 of, and that's fine. But when you're looking at just the overall thoughts and construction process for the deck, one-ofs are going to be a lot more inviting. You are really going to have more people spending money on one-ofs out here than the 3-ofs. And that's just because people like having their cards look a little bit nicer. Contrary to what every Yu-Gi-Oh player keeps shouting out here and what the market dictates in a different light, more people are willing to upgrade their decks in 1 to 2-ofs than full max 3-ofs. So, crossover breakers, Risel is going to be the most expensive theme. Yeah, I could have told you that. The Malice is going to be bringing up the rear. And Ryu-Ge is probably going to be the cheapest, well, should be the cheapest of the 3. I can't imagine that we're going to get too many Ultras for Ryu-Ge. Konami is going to want one theme to be widely more available. And same thing to the Ryu-Ge players out here. You can play this already with your existing dinosaur deck. You know, I've seen some crazy builds that are playing Ultimate Conductor that are like, hey, you know, we can do all this cool little stuff. Yeah, you do have some cool lines of play that you can do. That's fine. When you can get into the world of creativity and deck building with some of this stuff, like Malice is going to be Cyber's good stuff. Risel, you can get some cool splashability options. I've already seen, with the Magisters promo in Japan, they're doing some cool things. I've seen Voiceless Voice, Ryu-Ge, but I've also seen it with Risel as well. Risel, in terms of splashability, is really cute. You can get into some cool, dumb things with that. And I do expect that we're going to see 1 to 2 haha funny memes come out of that. But in terms of crossover breakers for now, expectations are going to be, a lot of people are going to be really upset when they see the price of Risel and Malice on pre-sale, because those are going to be the defining selling points of the set. If you think you're going to get a Risel core for $100, there's the door. Go laugh yourself down the street. All right, go do it on the street and try to make some money. All right, because that joke was absolutely terrible, and maybe somebody will pat you on the back to try to help you out. But realistically, the cost of this set is going to be much more worse off than I think people are really going to expect. But hey, you guys keep dreaming that you can get Risel cores for $100. Alright, you keep dreaming that you can get Malice for $50. Yeah, good luck. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, as per usual, the community thinks everything's going to be massively cheap, even though cases are like 700 plus on pre-order, and there's got to be a distribution of estimated value. But, what do I know? You guys have a good rest of your day, alright? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.